Welcome to Becca's World. I'm your host, Blind Becca. Thank you for joining us today. We're talking about accessibility to reading as blind people today. And this topic is very close to my heart, as it is to many of the blind people that I know, and many people overall. So let's get started. So how are you guys today, ladies? I think Kayla's going to go first, right?
Sure. Good afternoon or morning, everybody, whenever you're watching this. I was going to talk about Bookshare today. It is a service that is available in multiple countries, so it's not just limited to the United States. It is a service that you can read on a variety of platforms. You can read it on a Victor Reader Stream. You can read it on Voice Dream Reader, Read to Go, and there's many other apps. On their website, it's really cool. They have a section that will tell you different platforms it can be used on, their price, and then a little description about what that specific service will offer. It is a paid membership. It is $50 a year, so that's less than $1 a week for books. So, and it's pretty unlimited on the number of books you can download. I love it. It's my favorite. It gets a lot of new releases, so you don't have to wait for someone to read it and then put it on a service and then download it. So it's pretty quick to get new releases. That's one of my favorite things. So I can read them at the same time as my sighted peers are able to read them. The only big drawback for some people, it doesn't really bother me, but I know some people do not prefer the computer voice. It does have multiple choices of different voices on some of the apps, depending on which app you use. And I know Megan's going to go over the Voice Dream Reader app a little bit in a little while, and that's my favorite app to use the Bookshare membership on. Like I said, it's $50 a month, but if you are a student, it'll be free. And they also have volunteer opportunities that you can earn credits to go towards your membership. So whether it's proofreading books or scanning in books are a couple that I know of. Honestly, I haven't really taken advantage of those yet.
I've done it. Love it.
So she can explain a little more about that part of it.
So I actually love that part. I got into the volunteering with Bookshare, and I have edited a couple of chapter books. And it's really simple. They give you an outline as to, how they want it done. And you read the book and you change the chapter, the subtitles and or chapters to the fonts that they've asked you to do it. And if you do it right, they give you points towards your membership. So if you are reading books already and you want to help with the volunteering process, they are always looking for volunteers. And you can do that by there's a link on the Bookshare website, and you fill out. It's a very simple form. I did it like 5 years ago, so I don't remember exactly, but it's pretty simple to get in. So.
And the website is just bookshare.org.
Okay, and for clarification, Kayla, when she first talked about it, she said it was $50 a year, and then she said $50 a month a few moments ago.
I'm sorry, it is just $50 a year.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, because first you mentioned it was $50 a month, and then they started talking about ways people could earn points towards paying for that, and I was like, we better have some clarification.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, $50 a year if you're a non-student. Yeah. So, and if you're a student of Hadley School for the Blind, which is on the online school, that actually helps qualify you for the free Bookshare membership as well.
And that's
I think if you're a student at any school, like if you're a student at like a university anywhere, yes, all you have to do is show them your student identification, and they'll give you the Bookshare membership for free.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you go in, you fill out a form that says what school you attend. It could be K through college or beyond, like Hadley is kind of they have other classes, but they have adult learning as well. So that's one of the qualifications. That's how I qualify for mine. Is I take Hadley school courses.
And I wonder if a person goes to like a massage school or like a school like that where they're learning a trade school. I wonder if books at from trade schools and stuff, they may also be available in Bookshare. I'm not certain about that. Do you know? Kate?
I'm thinking they probably are. One of Bookshare's big things also is they do textbooks and stuff like that. So if you are at school and you need a textbook to be put into a digital format, there is a form for that as well. So that you can get your stuff put onto Bookshare that you need for your classes. I'm not sure how long that takes. So I mean, I would do it as soon as possible. If you're thinking about going back to school and thinking you're going to need it, or for next year, I'd contact them now and just let them know, hey, what is the process of doing that? But I know that that's one of their things is they will do textbooks and other materials for school.
So Kayla, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So could someone like a special ed teacher on behalf of a blind student in school contact Bookshare and order the students' books for them? You know what I mean? Because it would be hard for a blind child to do that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's all
yeah.
available, so.
I'm like 99% sure yes.
Yeah, and I know a lot of public schools, at least from my experience when I was a child going to public school, I really think the staff didn't know where to go for accessible books.
Yeah.
So this is why I wanted to share this information today. And I thank you for sharing it, Kayla, because I want teachers out there to know where you can go to look for accessible books for your blind students that you're trying to teach.
So
and it's
I'm sorry, but I have to say something really quick here. I actually have done that. I've submitted books to be redone by Bookshare. And what you really need, it's really important. If you can at all send them the book, then it goes really quickly. It takes usually like 6 to 8 weeks at the most. If they have to order it for you, it's really important to have the ISBN.
ISBN number.
Yes, and all the copyright information and everything. But if you can just send that book into them and fill that out and let them know what you need, it can be done really, really easily. But if they have to order it or find it, it might take a little longer.
So a special ed teacher at a school who could find out in advance what books a blind student would need for that year could take it upon themselves to take the steps to make sure those books would be ordered beforehand so they'd be ready for that student.
But
right?
remember they have to be scanned in, and then after you scan them, somebody has to willingly volunteer to to edit them. So
but Bookshare provides all of that, right?
Yeah. You can call them.
I'm also trying to point out to our viewers that this service is available to public schools, private schools, any school out there, or any homeschooling environments, anybody who wants books made to make them accessible for a blind child.
However, I think that the resource teacher could probably, if it was time permitting, they could probably scan it in and help with the process, be a volunteer and help with the process if it's something that needs to be done quicker as well, depending on the time frame they have available, since those volunteers positions are available as well.
I suspect that with today's technology, that the most timely, efficient, and most accurate way to go about doing this is for Bookshare to simply contact the publisher who originally published the book and get the e-files so that it's all accurate, and simply put the information from the e-files for the original book publication into their software, to convert it so that it's then accessible to Bookshare readers through the app or through the through the Bookshare platform or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and I believe that Bookshare does have those types of relationships with some publishers. I'm not, it's obviously probably not going to be all of the publishers, but I know that they do have that relationship with some publishers. And I also wanted to point out this service isn't just for blind people. It's for people who have reading disabilities. So people with dyslexia and some physical disabilities would also qualify for the service. So I don't want people to think it's just limited to people with visual impairments.
Now, I wanted to say something about this issue, about the issue of Bookshare having to contact publishers and asking permission to get the files to convert the books. I don't think that Bookshare has to do that, because my understanding is that by law, these materials have to be made accessible. So I think Bookshare is actually providing a great service to these companies. So I really don't think it's a matter of them having to say, hey, please give us these files so we can convert them. I think it's simply a matter of the publisher being made aware that the need is there, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think that also, though, that they do have contact with some of those publishers, because they need to get they need to get the files of the books. I mean, they can get a book from a bookstore, like a college book, and take it apart and do it. But if it's a rare book, I think they could go to the publisher for that. But as far as legally being able to do it, I think they can do it. I just think that sometimes they need help from the publishers to get it in.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think legally, I don't think it's a matter of them having to flex any legal muscles to say to the publisher, hey, you have to give us access to this material, to your electronic files, so that we can make this accessible. I think everybody's on board with making stuff accessible. It's simply a matter of the publishers being made aware that, hey, when you guys are done with the files for printing the books for the cited, give the files to Bookshare so that they can also create an accessible digital file to share with schools and whoever else needs it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I believe that must be going on, because, like I said, I can get a book on Bookshare the day it comes out.
Wow.
Really? That's incredible.
Up until a couple years ago, that was not a thing. I had to wait
Really
for
cool.
it to get into some sort of a format that was accessible for me. So all my friends were done reading this book, and I'm just barely getting it.
That's great. The last time I used Bookshare, I had experienced that, so I'm glad that they fixed that.
Yeah,
That's
and I think
cool.
relationships and stuff like that with the publishers, that they are able to just give it to them a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like I said, it's all about accessibility, guys. I'm really thrilled that the world has woken up and realized that accessibility is very important.
I don't, what, Becca, I think the sad thing is I don't think the world has woken up. Like, I think there's still a lot more to be done. Not that I'm negative, but I mean, there's still so many people, and including myself, that look at it as, it's going to cost extra money that we don't have. It's not that we don't want to do it. And then even, the like Pizza Hut and Domino's are fighting it, and it's ridiculous because, it's not that hard to do. Those kind of people have the money to do it. I should know. I keep
Well, and we of us know
their-
about accessible software and how it works, and if they would start thinking about accessibility from the ground up when they manufacture these products, accessibility could easily be built into most of these modern conveniences and stuff that people are using. So that we go to the store, to Sears or whatever, we're buying products that already have accessibility built into them, instead of all the craziness all of us go through to try to make materials work for us as blind people,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really like about Bookshare, is there are so many different ways of using the service. You can use them on a computer, you can use them on an iPhone, you can use them on an Android, you can use them on a Victor Reader Stream. It's compatible with Braille displays. So I mean, you have free to 3,000 or however much Braille display, 3,500 up to $5,000. So I mean, there is a way for pretty much anyone to access it. if you have internet.
Oh, well, were you just talking about the price of Braille displays?
I think they're like expensive. Like
You know,
the Braille
they
note.
were
The
expensive.
Braille note.
They were expensive, but like within the last couple of years, they came out with one that's very inexpensive for what I understand. So with these ones that are more affordable.
Well, they're still like $500. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
but yeah, from 3,000.
it's like a tenth of the price they used to be, though.
Yeah, no, true.
Yeah, but the Braille note is about $3,500, but it is accessible on the Braille note as well. So you have your standalone devices, you have your mobile devices, and then you have a web browser. That is, so most people have access to one of those things as long as they have internet to download the books. Once you have the book on your device, you no longer need internet to access it. So,
well, thank you for all of that. Do you have anything else to share about Bookshare, Kayla?
I don't think so. Megan's gonna go over one of my favorite apps to use it with. So
Okay.
I'm gonna let her cover that.
Okay, now what is the website for Bookshare exactly? Did you mention that?
Yeah, it's bookshare.org.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kayla. So Meg, would you like to go next and talk about VoiceStream Reader, and then I'll talk about Bard?
Sure. Okay. So I did not know that you could. Are you talking about using Bookshare with VoiceStream? Because I'm not sure. I'm a little confused, but I use the for Bookshare. I use the Read to Go app, which I love. And one more thing I wanted to say, and I know we're about ready to finish up with Bookshare, but one thing that I love about Bookshare is that I found a book that was only written in paperback, and I couldn't get it through Nook or any of the other ones. So I was able to get it through Bookshare, and actually a couple of times. So I was really happy about that, and I used my Read to Go app with that. So what I was going to talk about is an app called VoiceStream, and it's called Voice Dream Reader. So Voice Dream, like as in like a dream reader, and I find that it's very handy. Me personally, being kind of being in front of people in meetings, and having, like, if I needed to read something very quickly, I would put it on VoiceStream, and if it was something long, and have VoiceStream read it, because they have really good different voices. It's not that naggy, computer JAWS kind of, everybody's heard it voice, that doesn't have any fun, personality to it. And VoiceStream brings it to life. So I really, really like that about VoiceStream. I haven't really used it to read books per se, but I've used it if I need to read like an NFB speech, or a using something as an example in a meeting, like to show quickly. I will use it, and I love it.
Are you able to, when you use VoiceStream Reader, are you able to, like, similar to using VoiceOver to read a document, are you able to scan through and jump around and stuff?
You can definitely do that. It's mostly I don't really do that with that, just because I'm using it more in a professional setting. I'm not using it personally to read per se, because I'm using my Read to Go app through Bookshare and Bard as well. But I use it, just like as a note, kind of like if I needed to have something in my head really quick, I'd put an earpiece in and have that in there and scan through that, or else I'd use it as a reader to read something, to make it sound a little bit more professional and easier to listen to.
So do you have the cost for VoiceStream Reader or Read to Go?
I believe it is about $10.99. There is, or actually, I think it's gone up to $15. It was $10.99 when I got, or I don't know, 10 something. But I believe that the cost has gone up to $15. I can look at
No, no.
I actually
But you were talking about two different apps because you said Read to Go and Voice Dream Reader. So can you just clarify which app you're talking about?
Oh, sure.
Stuff,
The Read to Go app is free.
Okay.
Is it free? Wait,
no,
I might
no,
Okay.
it's $9.99.
Okay,
Or-
so I downloaded that a long time ago too. I apologize for that, but both of these apps do cost money. $8.99 for the Read to Go, Kayla, you said, and
I
then
I think it was $19.99 when I bought it, but it's been like 4 years. It won't show me in my app store how much it currently costs since I already purchased it.
that's
Um,
what
I was looking on Bookshare earlier, so I did see the price of Voice Dream Reader is $14.99 for iOS and $9.99 for Android, which it just was released on Android not too long ago. So I haven't had a chance to check it out yet on there, but I was thinking about just doing that because this is one of my favorite apps I use every day. And I was wondering if you minded if I went over a couple of the features.
Go for it.
Okay.
Well, this is Meg's presentation, so
I know, but,
We're
but I
tagging
want to. Do you mind if I tell a couple things that I use it for? Because I use it for reading books, which is the part she doesn't use it for.
right. I don't.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. So they have like a variety of different voices and different languages with different accents and stuff like that. So your voice selection on Voice Dream Reader is pretty large. And I think you get one upgraded voice for free. And then I think it's like maybe $2 for additional voices. You're able to highlight text. So if you're reading a like a nonfiction book, something for school, you can highlight something, and then you have a little tab that you can tap on that goes to your highlights, so you can see them quickly. Because I know for me, I can't scan. I can't I can't scan a page to find something quickly. And then
So
it also.
if you highlight something, does Voice Dream Reader then read that portion of the text in a different voice or something also? To let you know when you're listening to it later?
I'm not sure. I just go to my highlights and it reads that, like I can touch it and then it reads that whole area I highlighted back to me.
And you're able to visually see them on you highlighted also probably.
Yeah. So it'll be in a different color. And you can change the color of your font, your background, your highlight color. You can change the font style. You can change the size, the bold, the italic. So there's a lot for people who are low vision or with the dyslexia and other disabilities that they can do to make it easier for them as well. You can put notes. So like they used to do, like in the margin of books, you could write a little note, so it has a little area you can put notes in when you're reading. And then when you're done, you can export them all out into a Word document of whatever choice you choose. It can also be used with a Braille display. So if you have the Braille display, the Voice Dream Reader can be connected to that, so you can read it in Braille rather than use the voices. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's great.
So those were my few things that I do. The highlighting, you can copy text directly from there and then paste it into another document with that app. So I use that a lot. I make lots of notes and mark a lot of things because I want to be able to quickly go back to it later. And this is the best app I found because I used to use the Read to Go. Is that what it is, Megan?
Yes, it is Read to Go. Yep.
Yeah, so I used to use that exclusively until I found the Voice Dream app. And the Read to Go just doesn't have as many options of interacting with the text.
That's great. It sounds like a really fun app to use.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I didn't used to read very much before I got my iPhone, just because it was such a pain to find. I'd find something, I'm like, oh, this book looks really good, I want to read it, and then it'd be really hard to find an accessible way of doing it. So I wasn't reading very much. The first year I got my iPhone and I was using Read to Go, then I read over 200 books in a year.
Oh, good for you, Kayla.
So I actually use a app, or it's a website too. It's called Goodreads,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a app that you can download it, or you can use it on a website. Either way, you log in. It's like a social networking app, but for books and reading. So you can follow authors, you can have different bookshelves. So each year I start a new bookshelf and I add all the books that I read during that year to that specific bookshelf. So I can see, like, my goal is like 50 books a year or whatever. It depends on the year. I set a different goal.
So,
It's really cool.
did you say Goodreads has an iPhone app?
Yes, and it's completely accessible.
Oh, that's great. I've never been on Goodreads, but I should go on there because I love to read. And if they've got an iPhone app, I know it won't be a problem. So.
Yeah, and so, like, if you have specific authors you've added to your shelf a bunch of times, or
Mm-hmm.
follow them, then when they have a new book coming out, it notifies you. Or if they post something, or you can see what your friends are reading as well.
That's great. Thank you for sharing all that information. I'm definitely going to have to look into Goodreads.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is like my passion. I love reading.
Oh,
I
so
love
do I. I've been so excited for today's show so we could talk about this. Are you guys ready for my presentation?
Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, so like I love Bard. And it was originally just the Talking Book Library, but over the years it's evolved into the Braille and audio reading download service. And the thing I love about Bard is it's so accessible. There's an iPhone app, there's an Android app, you can get accessibility to Bard books through a Victor Reader Stream or a Victor Reader Track, devices like that. And you can do it through like a laptop or a desktop. You can do it through an app on there as well. And I've done all of these things using Bard. And over the years, when I first went blind, reading became like a huge nightmare, but getting accessibility to books now with today's technology is just so amazing. Reading hasn't been this easy since I could see as a child, and so I really love Bard. And the thing about Bard is it's actual people's voices, and that's what I really love about it. It's not just a computer voice like you get on like ebooks that you download in your computer and have JAWS or VoiceOver read to you, and it's not a voice like what I'm assuming is on VoiceStream Reader, which is still computer voices that sound more human-like, I think. So
those guys are actually them, right? They're actually reading them, right, Becca? The books?
Yeah, on Bard, it's actual human beings reading them, exactly. And at one point, for years and years, they were all volunteer readers, and they'd identify themselves. This book is being read by so-and-so, your voluntary reader or whatever, And then at one point, they started hiring these people they call professional readers, so now people get paid for it. But it's still a great service, and I just love, the fact that there's so many different ways to access it. And like I said, I can't believe, it's opened up reading to me again, and it was such a struggle after I went blind. When I used to carry around the big tape player with the tapes, I was glad to be able to get accessibility to audiobooks, but that was kind of a pain in the butt having to carry all that heavy stuff around all the time.
I remember those tape recorders.
Yeah, and don't you guys think today's technology is amazing?
Yeah,
Because of where we've been, I always have trouble complaining about this stuff, and I have problems with disabled people complaining about it, because I always look at them and say, don't you remember where we come from? Don't you remember how bad it used to be? And for our viewers who are watching, who facilitate these services for us, I want to thank you guys for helping facilitate these services for the blind community, because it helps us a lot in our daily lives, whether we're going to work. It gives us access to reading in work or school or, every part of our lives. And like I said, I just wanted to talk about BARD and how great it is. And so if you think you qualify for BARD, you can go on, we've talked about this in other videos, I think. You can go on your state's, like there's the Arizona Talking Book Library, your state should have a similar website. You go on there and you look for the form and you download it, print it out, have your doctor fill it out, and you fax it back in to prove that you have a print disability that affects, gives you problems reading. That's really all you have to do, and it's a free service. And so I really encourage people to follow up on these services we've shared today because they're great.
The cool thing that I love about BARD too and the Talking Book Library is you're right, they have so many different ways of, you can read. And even if you want to carry around it's not the same kind of tape recorder, but I believe they still have this, girls. I don't know. But it's that where you stick in that little disc, or it's like
the discs have
kind of.
The cartridges have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
the player is quite a bit smaller, and the cartridges are smaller than the tape.
Yes, but you can still, like, if you want the experience of, getting a book each month in the mail, they still offer that service too. So if you do fill out that thing for the Talking Book Library, I believe they still send those out as well. So you can also,
So I'm going to share another piece of information. It is my understanding that you can still get Braille books also if you are a Braille reader. My Braille skills aren't good enough to read Braille. But if you are a Braille reader, you can still get Braille books from the Talking Book Library.
You can subscribe to magazines. You can get Reader's Digest in Braille, which is like the best, I think, practice book. Like I love reading Reader's Digest in Braille just to get up on my Braille again. You can get different magazines. I don't know if they have people, but you don't have to send these back. They don't want them back. So, or that's what I believe. I don't believe they're requiring you to send the Braille books back. I could be wrong on that though. I'm like 90% sure you get to keep them.
That was another good point that I forgot to mention about the BARD. So you can get books and you can get magazines and stuff like that through the BARD, also through the reading downloads,
I really like the app also. It's the buttons are large, they're easy to find, the start and stop. And I think the buttons are kind of set up in the same way, the same order as the book player.
They are. That's so funny.
So I kind of know
what book player?
Like the NLS book player they ship you in the mail. The BARD app on iOS, the buttons are all set up in the same, I think I'm almost positive they're set up in the same order or orientation. So it's easy to go from one to the other. Something I just learned about BARD a couple weeks ago, and it was actually on accident. I was in my library and I accidentally swiped, instead of swiping left and right, I swiped down. And like see other author other books by, and they'll say whatever author that wrote the book. So
in BARD?
So if you're really enjoying the book, you can swipe down, you can look for other books by that author, you can look for other books in the same genre, and then you just double click on it and it brings you to a list of those books, so it's easier to search. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing ever. I had no idea until I accidentally did it. Like,
I have the BARD app on my iPhone and on my iPad, but I rarely use the BARD app because I always listen to my books on my Trek. I think I'm going to go into that and check out that app and all those cool features you just mentioned, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I also wanted, sorry, I had to move, but I also wanted to show something that I don't think we thought about. This is my Sun Sounds radio that I got. It might be a little dusty.
Oh, what a great idea.
I know. So this is what I got. And it's a great radio. It's got the Sun Sound station, and they have all kinds of like recipes. Like they have a show on recipes. They have a book, stories. I mean, they have anything and everything that you could want to like listen to on the radio, and they give you this radio, and it works on all stations. It doesn't have a tape recorder or a tape player, but it's really nice. And look at the speakers are super nice. Like it's a good little radio that you get. Just
So Meg, do you have information on how our viewers can look into the Sun Sound service?
Yeah. You know what? I would have to look it up on Google. But I believe it's sunsounds.org, and it was super simple to fill out the form, and they sent it to me right away. And
That's SUN sounds, right?
yes, all lowercase, www.sunsounds, and I believe it's .org. But let's make sure, viewers. But if I'm wrong on it, just do a Google search and you'll find it right away.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that Sun Sounds is Arizona's newspaper and reading service. Each state has their own that's named something else. So I'm not sure what that's categorized as.
Well, I'm sure maybe if you go to the Sun Sounds website, maybe they'll have those links to the different states.
Yeah.
We'll have to check on that. But the reason I found out about it is because through the NFB, through members who work at Sun Sounds, and then also a blind training center. Like if you have one of those in your area, they would know about them, so you could call and ask.
I bet the local talking book library in any state would know about how people can get information on their local state service that does that,
They might, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll get that information up to you guys too.
That would be great. Thank you for bringing up Sun Sounds. That's awesome. I hadn't thought about them.
No worries.
Anyway.
And then there's also NFB Newsline. Oh
yeah, NFB Newsline is really a great resource. Also, that was created by, of course, the NFB. And you can get, from what I've seen, it's fairly current newspaper and magazine information. You know what I mean?
It is. It's very up to date. Yeah.
And you can get that on there's same kind of apps and stuff like we've been talking about.
Yeah,
it's available all the same ways, right?
Yep, it's the Newsline app. And what I love about it is that it takes the newspaper and it puts the subtitles like in a table of contents per se, or or a list, and then you pick the story that you want to listen to, or the story that you want to get caught up on. So if you see big sale at Fry's and you want to look up the coupons there, they have all that. They have news in your local city, so I could get all the news on what's going on in Mesa. Kayla was saying that they have a thing about COVID right now that gives you up-to-date numbers on COVID. It's from state to state, so you could look up New York per se and look and see what's going on in New York. The other thing that I love about it, because I'm a vendor, so they have the vending magazines, like some of them on there. Vending Times, that's what they have on there. So I'll look on that one sometimes. But they have different magazines as well, like the Wall Street Journal.
Now you're still talking about NFB Newsline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
That is great. I didn't know all of that. Now, you can't access NFB Newsline through the Victor Reader Trek or stream, though, can you?
You can. Actually, I haven't done too much of that. Yeah. You know what? I don't know how that works. I have not done that in so long, Becca. I don't know how it would work on that. But I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you have to have a password for it. That's and
right. And I don't think my Newsline's even set up on my iPhone anymore. I need to find out what my user information is, get logged back into that, because there's so much good information on there. And I had stopped tuning into it because I had so much other stuff going on, but I really need to keep better informed.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but that's what I love it for, is if I wanted to look at what's going on in Hawaii, I could pull up that state and see their papers and their magazines. If I wanted to read up on what Ashton Kutcher is doing, I could look up People magazine. And it's it's organized in a way that I just love the organization of it, because you can click into a city, you can click into their local paper, and then it just gives you the headlines of the articles.
It is.
So
It sounds to me like the app was designed perfect because it's designed by blind people.
Yeah, it is really good. They also have local TV listings on there as well,
that's right. Yeah.
like programming. So yeah, I use it. That's primarily how I've been getting my news lately, is because I don't like sitting and watching the news on the TV. They have a variety of different newspapers and things like that that you can look into as well. And then like magazines, like so I look at those. I wouldn't typically look through magazines because there's not really a way to outside of the NFB Newsline. That's very, that's not something that, like books, they put on different services, but magazines really, outside of that, I don't know of any other way to access them easily.
I don't think I ever did a demo of the Newsline app. Well, I think I opened it up one time and showed it a little bit, but maybe I should open it up all the way and demonstrate it for people. Anyway, that's something we can talk
I
about.
think you should. Yeah, I think it'll be good. It's a good service.
Yeah. Do you ladies have anything else you'd like to share?
I also want to bring up an app called Overdrive. This is one that is like connected to your local library, and you can check out audiobooks as well as print books, or digitally printed books, I guess I should say. And with it, you put in your library card number, and then you're able to check out books for, like, it depends on the book. I think it's 2 to 3 weeks. You have the option of renewing it if you haven't finished it. And then once your renewal or your time is up, then the book is automatically taken off of your device. So there's no returns or anything like that. And I've used this one a couple times. It was very accessible. They also have some movies and stuff on there that you can rent through the same service. So it's called Overdrive, and it was very accessible. It's a just an app I downloaded onto my iPhone. I'm pretty sure it's available for Android as well as the computer. So your local library also has those types of services.
Wow, I didn't even know about that. That's really cool.
So, and then I think I did already mention audible.com. That one's more of a professionally read or commercial audio is what they call it. And there's a monthly membership, or you can buy it per book that you want to read. And then I use Dropbox a lot, and I share books with my friends. So we'll have a Dropbox set up, and we'll just share books back and forth that are audiobooks. So there's a lot of reading opportunities out there.
So I have a question about that override thing.
Overdrive?
The Overdrive. So are those movies audio described? Or just accessible to queue up and stuff? You know what I mean?
They're just accessible to queue up. I've not seen descriptive audio. I think that's a show we should do, though, is descriptive audio on different platforms.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh, speaking of that, I watched Back to the Future this weekend in descriptive audio.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. Like, for the first time ever, like, to get those details that you don't normally get. It was great.
Where did you find that in audio description?
Netflix.
I didn't think you could get old shows like that in audio description. Oh my gosh.
They just put it out.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. Thank you for sharing, Meg.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, we watched it as well this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Wasn't it cool?
I watched the first one so far, though.
You know what,
but
guys?
They do have all three.
I watched the first and second one. I need to watch the third one.
if Netflix sees our video and realizes how much of the blind community is enjoying these shows being audio described, maybe they'll make more and more audio described. Maybe more companies would start making more audio description, you know?
So
Yeah.
my husband and my son are both completely sighted, and they both
Mhm.
watch, if audio description is available, they watch it with audio description, whether I'm in the room or not.
Oh,
They
my
just
boyfriend loves it.
like, oh, I didn't notice that, and I've seen this movie 10 times. There, I love how the audio description points out the things that are important to know too, because you lose so much by not seeing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even know it. That's the thing. It was so crazy. Like, it was all kind of lost to me. Like,
Oh my
I didn't
God.
know. But I mean, just to know that extra little stuff, it really helps a lot. And I watch if I can watch a video with descriptive, I will now.
I
for
would
sure.
love to see Air Force One in descriptive video. I love that movie, but I've never seen it.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if Netflix has that.
I don't know. I'll have to check it
And
out.
Prime, I feel like Amazon Prime movies are getting better about it too.
Really? Oh, that's good.
The only
Not-
thing, the only issue I've had with the Amazon Prime is that I can't access it with my voice assistant on my Fire TV stick. I have to turn it off and have someone else turn on the audio description for it to work. You can't access that menu. It's so
I was
weird.
wondering if that was an issue with my thing or if it was like all the way around issue, because I kind of noticed that too. So I mostly go to Netflix to do it, but I now, oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
You know, there's a couple areas in life with this new technology where I've noticed you have to shut something off and have somebody else turn that kind of stuff, and it drives me crazy. It's ridiculous because
Yeah.
those times are so few and far between, and then when those times come up, it just reminds you that once again that there still are walls up there keeping us from being truly free and independent with this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, it's getting so much better. And like I tell people who, they look at, they look at blindness as, just so scary. It's like, well, this is actually the best time to be blind. Like and then people look at me like I'm crazy, but it really is. I mean, it's a good time to be blind.
Yeah, it's much easier than it was 30 plus years ago. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, even for the last couple of years, every time I go to the movie theater with my kids, I'm able to get audio described headphones so that I can know what's going on in the movie theater while they're when they're watching it. The only thing is sometimes it will describe something that is about to happen, so I'll start laughing before everybody else laughs. So that part is pretty entertaining. So, but yeah, no, I love that. Even the small, we have a Fat Cats next to us, and they only have 8 theaters, so it's a pretty small theater, and they still have audio description.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I've never seen a movie in a movie theater with audio description. I really need to pursue
we
that.
should do sometime, the 3 of us, after everything's back to normal and open. We should go see a movie and do a review.
Oh yeah, we should. That's a great idea, Kayla. And we should do an audio described.
And then if the audio description doesn't work, we can show them how we can get free movie tickets for the next time. The audio description didn't work.
How often does the audio description not work, Kayla, when you go to a movie?
I've only had it not work twice ever.
Twice out of how many times is that? Approximately
15, maybe 20. And so
10% of the time, that's not a very good odds.
Well,
but the thing is, like, one time I didn't say anything because I didn't want to, I didn't want to leave the movie theater, and I was just there because it was a kids movie. I didn't really care as much. And the other time I went and they fixed it, and I was able to continue watching the movie. So, and they still gave me a free, it come back type thing.
Well,
because I part of it.
Doesn't that really interrupt your movie though when you have to go and have them fix
Yes.
it? So
Yeah,
right?
and that's why they did accommodate for that. They were really good about that. The movie theaters really do seem to care.
They
And
do.
they do
So
try.
I've never used this. So how does a person use it the first time? Or how do you get signed up for it?
So when you get your tickets at the ticket counter, typically, or at a customer service, you just go up to them and say, hey, I need audio description. I typically call ahead of time and just let them know I'm coming so they can have it all set up. Because I don't know how I think they're Bluetooth.
They have to put batteries in them, and they're like on a radio wave, like a station. So
like
I'm sorry.
Kind of like a walkie-talkie. It's on like
Yeah, kind
So
of.
do you still hear the dialogue in the movie and stuff through the same headphones then?
Yeah.
So that you can hear it all together?
Yep, you can still hear everything. And they just put some batteries in it, but sometimes the batteries will die in it, and so I haven't used them lately because I haven't gone to the movies in like a couple of years, but they'll malfunction, and you go to customer service and they'll take care of you, or they'll give you a ticket for the next time. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I don't know with COVID though, like how they're gonna do that now, because
Oh yeah. Headphones.
So depending on the theater, some of them you can plug your own headphones into them, and sometimes they don't have that option.
I
that
didn't.
You theirs.
Wow.
So, like when I went to Harkins, I think I was able to use my own headphones in the phone. It had like a little jack on the headphones I could plug mine into. But I don't. Fat Cats, I think, is just a headset that you have to use their headset. So, and then at the end, you just give it back to them when you're leaving. Sometimes I've had them ask for an ID, and sometimes they don't. It just depends on the person, I think, or the theater. So kind of as a deposit, hey, you have to give me your ID so that you make sure they get them back.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow, that's great information. Thank you guys so much for sharing.
And then one more, Disney Plus. Almost everything on the Disney Plus streaming has audio description as well. I was pretty impressed by that, which is so cool because then I get to go back and watch all the kids' movies from when I was a kid with my kids described, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that happened. So that is super cool too. So.
Yeah. And Verizon is giving, if you have a Verizon account, they're trying to promote it through there, so you get a year of Disney Plus for free.
Yeah, I think you have to have the unlimited plan on Verizon to get it for free. I'm not 100% sure that. So.
Well, I enjoyed our show.
Me too.
Me too, ladies. We can figure out between now and next week. Sometime we'll figure out what we're talking about next week. Thank you guys so much for your time today and for sharing yourselves. Are we ready to end the show?
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you too, ladies, because it's always fun spending time with you during the weekend. So it's been a pleasure as always.
I can't wait till we have the little get together at your place, Meg.
Ooh, sounds like a plan. I heard that that's what they were talking about on the Phoenix meeting last night.
Oh yeah.
The house. I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't even there. No.
You showed up, Meg. You showed up later on, didn't you, during the meeting?
I was there. What did you ask?
You popped in during the meeting for a little bit last night, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I was off, and by the time they were planning the party over at my house.
I can't wait for that party at your house, Meg. It's gonna be great.
I know.
It's a surprise party. Surprise! We're all here.
Yeah. Make sure to do it on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Just do it. Right?
Okay, so we're going to sign out then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us today on Becca's World. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. It was a lot of fun. Please like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Peace out. Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.